The stablecoin revolution no one saw coming is on its way, y'all. Okay, so stablecoins are having a moment right now. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars circulating and trillions in transaction volume every single month. That's more than what Visa or PayPal processes in the same time frame. For cross-border payments, stablecoins settle in seconds, with fees often under 1%. They've gone from being just a crypto trading tool to something businesses, banks, and even payment giants are starting to take seriously. Big names like PayPal, Stripe, and even JP Morgan are experimenting with stablecoins in their payment system. And right in the middle of this shift is Stellar. While most blockchains fight for DeFi or NFT dominance, Stellar has been laser focused on payments from the start. Fast, cheap, reliable transactions. That's always been its pitch. Stellar has built-in tools that let issuers enforce KYC, freeze assets if required, and follow financial regulations. It's exactly what enterprises want if they're going to trust a blockchain for payment. Now, with enterprise adoption of stablecoins picking up, Stellar is pushing hard to position itself as the backbone for this new wave of digital money. So, where does Stellar fit into this stablecoin boom? In this video, we're breaking down why stablecoins are suddenly center stage, how Stellar is upgrading its network to capture this opportunity, the partnerships driving real adoption, and what risks could hold it back. Stablecoins have quietly become one of the biggest forces in crypto. Right now, there's more than $250 billion worth of them circulating, and they're handling over $1 trillion in transactions every month. That's more than what Visa or PayPal processes in the same time frame. The appeal is simple. Stablecoins give you the speed and flexibility of crypto, but without the crazy volatility of Bitcoin or Ethereum. One USDT is $1. One USDC is $1. And that stability makes them actually useful for payments. In places where inflation is crushing local currencies, stablecoins are lifelines. People use them to save money, send remittances, or pay for goods without worrying about their value evaporating overnight. And businesses are catching on too. For cross-border payments, stablecoins settle in seconds, with fees often under 1%. Compare that to traditional banking wires that take days and charges hefty fees. It's no contest. And that's why big names like PayPal, Stripe, and even JP Morgan are experimenting with stablecoins in their payment systems. They're not just a niche crypto thing anymore, they're moving into mainstream finance. This shift is what people are calling the stablecoin moment. It's the point where stablecoins stop being just another trading tool and start becoming actual infrastructure for money movement worldwide. So, where does Stellar fit into this stablecoin boom? Unlike most blockchains that try to be everything at once, Stellar was built with one mission in mind: payments. Transactions on Stellar settle in just a few seconds and the fees are tiny, often a fraction of a cent. That makes it practical not just for moving millions, but for microtransactions too. It's not about speculation, it's about money actually moving. The way Stellar works is through a network of anchors. These are regulated entities like banks, fintechs, or money service providers that hold real assets and issue matching tokens on the network. That's how stablecoins and fiat on-off ramps come alive on Stellar. Compliance has also been a big part of its design. Stellar has built-in tools that let issuers enforce KYC, freeze assets if required, and follow financial regulations. That is not as sexy as NFTs or DeFi, but it's exactly what enterprises want if they're going to trust a blockchain for payments. At the heart of it all, this is the Stellar Consensus Protocol. It's not proof of work like Bitcoin, and it's not exactly proof of stake either. It uses something called Federated Byzantine Agreement. Without going too deep, the main idea is that it lets the network reach consensus quickly with very low energy use and high reliability. That's why Stellar can run with 99.99% uptime. Put simply, Stellar has always been designed as a payments rail, and with stablecoins stepping into the spotlight, its original version suddenly looks very relevant again. To make the most of the stablecoin moment, Stellar isn't standing still. This year, 2025, it rolled out a major network upgrade called Protocol 23, and this one is all about scale. One of the biggest changes is the parallel execution of smart contracts. Before, transactions were processed in a more linear way, which limited throughput. With Protocol 23, multiple transactions can run side by side, making the whole network faster and more efficient. Another improvement comes from splitting how the data is stored. By separating live data from archived data, the network cuts down on disk usage and speeds up performance. It's the kind of under-the-hood change that enterprise clients care about because it means smoother operations at large scale. The goal with all these tweaks is to push Stellar's throughput toward 5,000 transactions per second. That's a big leap, and while it depends on real-world conditions, it positions Stellar closer to the performance that enterprises demand for high-volume payment flows. Protocol 23 also makes smart contracts more efficient to run, lowering costs and opening the door to more complex use cases like tokenized assets and on-chain settlement for big financial players. Upgrades are one thing, but adoption is what really matters. And this is where Stellar has been making some interesting moves. One of the biggest headlines came from PayPal. Their stablecoin, PYUSD, is already on Ethereum, but they've announced plans to expand it onto Stellar too. That means faster, cheaper transactions for PayPal's ecosystem, especially for cross-border use cases. The deal still needs regulatory approval, but if it goes through, it's a massive validation for Stellar. Stellar has also been working with Acceler to make stablecoin payments more interoperable across blockchains. Imagine someone on Ethereum or Solana initiating a payment that routes through Stellar's rails for the final settlement. It's a way of positioning Stellar as the backbone for multi-chain stablecoin transactions. Then there's the push into tokenized real-world assets. The Stellar Development Foundation has set a target of bringing billions of dollars in assets on-chain through partnerships with firms like Arcax, SocGen, and IBM. Combined with the new Protocol 23 upgrades, the network is aiming to handle not just stablecoins, but securities, bonds, and other institutional-grade instruments. On the grassroots side, Stellar has also supported fintechs like AirTM, which use stablecoins, and the Stellar network to power cross-border payment for freelancers and workers in emerging markets. For people who can't rely on their local banking systems, these integrations make a huge difference. Taken together, these partnerships show Stellar trying to cover both ends of the spectrum. Big institutions like PayPal on one side and real-world users in emerging economies on the other side. Of course, it's not all smooth sailing for Stellar. For one, regulation is a huge hurdle. Stablecoins are under the microscope right now. The US is still debating how to regulate them, and Europe has MiCA rolling out strict rules. Any misstep or sudden policy change could slow down Stellar's plans, especially with big partners like PayPal waiting on approval. Then there's the competition. Ethereum may be expensive at times, but it still has the biggest stablecoin volumes. Solana has been gaining traction for fast, cheap payments, and Layer 2 networks are scaling quickly with more liquidity and user adoption. Outside of crypto, even traditional players like Visa are experimenting with blockchain settlement. So Stellar has to fight for attention in a crowded field. Adoption is another challenge. For enterprises, switching payment rails isn't simple. It's not just about speed or fees, it's about integration costs, compliance requirements, and whether partners are already using other networks. Convincing big businesses to move on to Stellar takes time. And finally, there's execution risk. Protocol 23 promises up to 5,000 transactions per second, but those are still projections. Whether Stellar can consistently deliver that performance under real-world loads remains to be seen. If it can't scale as promised, it could lose ground to rivals. So while Stellar is making bold moves, it's facing pressure from regulators, competitors, and the weight of its own promises. All right, let's conclude the video. Stablecoins are no longer a side story in crypto. They're becoming the backbone of digital money. They move faster, they cost less, and in many parts of the world, they're more reliable than local currencies or banks. And that's why enterprises, fintechs, and even giants like PayPal are leaning into them. Stellar has positioned itself right in the middle of this shift. From day one, it was built for payments, not hype. With ultra low fees, near instant settlement, and compliance tools already baked in, it fits neatly into what enterprises are looking for. And with Protocol 23 rolling out, Stellar is upgrading its infrastructure to handle much bigger volumes and more complex use cases. Partnerships like PayPal, Acceler, and tokenization projects with institutions show that Stellar is serious about becoming a core part of global financial plumbings. But there are still challenges. Regulators are circling, competition is fierce, and adoption doesn't happen overnight. The question now is whether Stellar can turn all of this momentum into real-world dominance. If stablecoins really are entering their breakout moment, Stellar has a chance to be one of the main networks powering that transformation. For traders and investors, it's worth keeping an eye on. Not just for price moves, but for how well Stellar's story matches up with actual adoption over the next few years. Because if the stablecoin revolution really takes off, the rails underneath it will matter more than ever. And that is it for today's deep dive, but tell me what you guys think in the comments. Can Stellar really become the backbone of enterprise payments, or will competitors like Ethereum and Solana keep the lead? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more crypto breakdowns, and turn on your notifications so you never miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.